Well, no more record warmth, at least today. Temperature at 75 at the noon hour. Very pleasant for a lot of us, and our dew point temperatures are falling too. Now, it's not as cold as it's going to get this weekend, so our chilly weather is still on the way, but lots cooler than yesterday and the day before. Of course, Monday we hit that 90-degree mark in November. Now it's 75, and when we look at that dew point in the 50s, that corresponds to what we could call maybe just a nice feel. It continues to be pleasant in the 40s, and it gets drier and drier the lower down the list of numbers you go with dew point temperatures. We had been earlier this week in the upper 60s to lower 70s for the dew point temperatures. So we have drier air moving in, and that will have an effect on our humidity. It'll feel drier as we get into tonight and tomorrow, and then definitely into the weekend. Here we are in the 70s, but look at this. Some of you already got to about 80 at Houma and Thibodaux, 81 and 80 there. Otherwise, though, we're having this drier air move in, not from the west and northwest this time, but from the northeast and east, with these winds dragging in this air mass from off to the northeast of us. And that is associated with the pattern around Nicole, which we'll get to in a second. But we have no effects here aside from just a bit of a breeze. A few of those higher clouds have moved in, so tonight we'll be looking at temperatures this evening through the 70s into the 60s, and then our lows for tonight will be a little bit cooler than they have been. We'll say our high today in the mid to upper 70s for most of us, and then we're expecting 50s to around 60 or so, both north and south of the lake for tonight. So cooler and less humid. Now here is our moisture map showing, of course, Nicole, and this drier air is out here in the purples and blues. Now we'll go forward with our model here, and this takes us into Friday midday, and you can see the track that Nicole is taking as this surface front and this big trough of low pressure moves in and sweeps across our area. And this is all going to take Nicole on that path out to the northeast that we've been talking about. So here's the drier air moving into our area by this weekend. Much colder and windy as that cold front just blasts in with a very different feel for the weekend. Get ready. It'll really feel like winter, I think. And then as we move into Monday and Tuesday, we see the surface high with that cold air shifting to the northeast. And we start to see a little bit of moisture wrapping back in from the south. So Monday and Tuesday, we continue pretty cool, but we will also have some showers back in the forecast. Looking at the big chill expected this weekend, our temperatures Saturday starting maybe in the 50s, could be a bit cooler, but models have been going up with that a bit. Temperatures Saturday staying in the 60s, but with a north breeze, it could feel like 50s. We'll have a couple showers early in the day, and then we'll be drier, maybe with some sun coming out later in the day. Then that will allow us to cool down a lot. 30s north of the lake and 40s south expected Sunday morning. High Sunday, maybe only in the upper 50s or just barely scraping 60 degrees. And with that north wind, it will still feel a bit cooler than that even. Here's the latest once more to touch on Tropical Storm Nicole. Winds at 70 miles per hour now. It's been steadily strengthening. It has just passed over Grand Abaco Island, and it is moving from the Bahamas toward the east coast of Florida shortly. So it will be there likely within kind of the tonight to early morning time frame for landfall, and it may attain Category 1 status as a hurricane before then. It's not too far from that now. Only needs to reach 4 more miles per hour for the winds. It takes the big turn off to the northeast and weakens, but still brings rain and some breezy conditions, of course, to the southeast U.S. and especially Florida, of course, over the next couple of days. Here are the hurricane warnings in red and tropical storm warnings now in orange. And if you're wondering how much rain, it looks like most spots in these red areas in much of Florida will be in the 2 to 4 inch range. So hopefully manageable for most spots, but it could be a bit heavier in some locations. And that storm surge we were just talking about, maybe about 3 to 5 feet along the east coast of Florida where it makes landfall and up the east coast. So we are looking for that, the east coast of Florida, I should say. It will be lower storm surge once it reaches northern Florida and into Georgia, but it looks like it'll be manageable, but still a hurricane making landfall at this point in November along Florida's east coast. There's your chilly weekend and your rain chances early next week.
The Saints will release